There's a lot of talk about the dangers of Britain leaving the European Union, but many people in other member states don't know both how serious the risk of Britain actually leaving is, what the actual consequences would be, and finally, whether there's anything that anyone outside of Britain can do about it. So my paper is an attempt to answer those three questions, and I start by saying that there is a very serious risk of Britain leaving the European Union, but it's not driven by a Eurosceptic public. It's actually the fact that there's a divided elite, and Britain's one of the few member states where a significant portion of the elite is desperate to leave the European Union. And they've managed to construct a debate about Europe which is about migration, really, rather than about Europe.
On immigration, Spaniards don't quite understand why is it that Britain is campaigning against something out of which has benefited a lot. Even on the case, specifically in the case of Eastern enlargement, Spaniards were never enthusiastic about Poland and all this. I mean, they accepted that they had to become members, but they were not pushing for it, whereas Britain was actively pushing. Now they sort of regret this and they leave us sort of with a mess of enlargement, and they want to leave. So it's hard to understand from a Spanish perspective, both of government and business, what London is at on all this debate.
I think for Germany it's predominantly about the unity of the European Union. So for whatever reason, if a member state would leave the European Union or would have to leave the European Union, this might cause some kind of a deterioration and disintegration of the European Union project, which is some kind of a very important, or the important thing for the German government.
An absolute red line for Poland is the question of equal treatment of all EU member states, and this is the question of migration and labour markets, and the question of abuses of welfare state, as it is phrased in the British debate. And here Poland have probably slightly different opinion than the current UK government, and sees quite problematic the attempt to introduce regulations by which the EU member state would not be treated in an equal way.
For most of the stakeholders in Bulgaria, the possible Brexit is actually not a very realistic option. People believe that an important member of the EU, as the UK, would not really venture this step. What people see is however, one important part of the Brexit debate, and this is the debate about migration and about, especially of course, about Eastern European workers in Great Britain, which is perceived very negatively. For newcomers to the EU, like Bulgaria, a possible Brexit is in a way breaking kind of the sacred goal of being one in Europe.
In general, a Brexit as well as a Grexit is sort of inconceivable for Italy. Italy is a founding member of the European Union. Italy still believes a lot in the European project, even though we have some parties which are becoming more and more Eurosceptical, but still the common sense is that Europe is a project that goes beyond economic issues, and therefore the leaving, the exit of another important member states, being Britain or being Greece, is again inconceivable. would mean the end of that project, the end of that idea of coming together for a better world.
I do think that people in other countries have both got a stake in whether Britain stays or goes, and there is quite a lot they can do to shape the debate. And the main way is to try and help the pro-Europeans in Britain to disconnect the largely pragmatic public that is very much open to staying in the European Union from the Europhobic minority that wants to drive Britain out. And the best way into that is, instead of trying to defend the status quo, to take seriously a lot of the problems which Europe has at the moment and to show that there is going to be a big and lively debate about reforming Europe and making it better.